People have been planting gardens for hundreds of years. Today, we were just planting and doing a gardening demonstration, 18th century style. We've been volunteering for 2 or 3 years with the Wyman Tavern Fest, and we felt that there was a need to have plants growing here and activities with plants for the public to enjoy. We may not have been completely accurate today with our activities, but if you're going to put on the clothing of the 18th century, we try to tie in and be as accurate as possible. We didn't reenact, we were not actors today. We were just planting and doing a gardening demonstration, 18th century style.
Wyman Tavern was built in the 1760s, and it has remained in this location. Behind the tavern where we are now would have been Mr. Wyman's land and some of his fields. So we're kind of sitting in what could have been his field. They would have had a garden close to the back door near the kitchen. So that would have been a kitchen garden, and they probably would have had little things and herbs and a variety of things that they could kind of scurry out, collect real quick to add to a stew or a soup or a meal. And then the more extensive gardens with, you know, bunches of corn and potatoes and other crops would have been maybe further out. I've been told that where the garden beds are currently, right behind the tavern, is pretty close to where they probably were back in the Wyman Tavern's days. I've done a lot of reading of Abner Sanger's diary when I was looking at preparing for this program, and I went through to see what exact vegetables he's mentioning and pulled out the names of some of them, including the speckled beans that he mentions, and then I went and found a bean that could be traced back to, you know, close to the 18th century to be able to bring today. So that piece of it is like a puzzle and a mystery to solve, to see, okay, what was he really planting here? What do we have documentation for? And how can I get those, or close to those as possible, in today's world? I think that in today's world right now, we're all maybe a little bit nervous or scared or are worried about our current world situation. And I know one thing that I've been doing more of is planting my own garden at home. I think that is really beneficial in a whole bunch of ways. You know, it gets me outside, off my screens. It allows me to get my hands dirty and kind of be reconnected with the earth and the world. And it also is kind of reviving, you know, the home garden during different times in especially American history, but world history. You know, victory gardens were a thing of the past, and people wanted to plant gardens during times of food shortages to be able to have produce at home. And I think that there's a really great local produce movement in a lot of communities. So how can we kind of decrease the space between us and where our food comes from? So I think that that's a really timely project. Today, you know, doing this program and continuing to do these kinds of programs helps to bring some of this history to life and have it be more accessible. And I think that it gives people, you know, a sense of place, and that's, I know, something that the Historical Society wants people to feel connected. And I think there can be a lot of connections between having people be rooted to a place and then the idea of growing plants, you know, planting things and growing and planning for future.